Hey everybody, it's Charlie. Welcome to the channel. We're back on the CB750 project. Ordered a new tank, and I have the rear sprocket and ordered the stuff for the front sprocket. But I wanted to show you what the tank. Decided to go with a GS850. I believe it's a 83. The tank looks pretty good. It is going to require a little bit of a modification at the bottom side of it, but nothing too major. But anyways, I'll show you what the tank looks like, and then I'll take a break and we'll come back and I'll show you what I'm doing so far for the front sprocket. So hold on a minute. Tank, this is off a GS, like I said, I think it's a 1983 GS850. It's pretty big, it's long. I was looking for something decent in size. It's relatively in great shape. It does have some surface rust on there. You can tell that, according to the description from the guy I bought it from on eBay, said that the tank had been sitting on a wall in a motorcycle shop for years, and this rust that's in it, it's definitely surface rust, and you can tell that it's not from water. It's from the cap being missing and the actual fuel sending unit being missing. But on the bottom side of the tank, these little dents, or these cutouts here, this one here, and when you put it up on the frame, this little section of the edge is catching the frame, so it's going to require just a little bit of trim. These look to be correct as far as the width for the tabs to come out here. But anyways, that's the tank. I'll kind of set it up on there. So hold on, I'm doing this one-handed. So you can get an idea on the GS850 tank. You can see right there on the frame, it's just a little bit tight. So we'll have to trim that up. But anyways, so hold on a minute. All right, then we're on to the rear, or the sprockets. I have my rear sprocket in. I ended up having to go with a 525 pitch, not the 520. Simple fact is that for all the sizes that I was looking for, they were currently available in the 525, so that's what I went with, which I'm fine with. But I have a piece of precision rod on here clamped on, and then so I could mark my distance on the where the sprocket needed to be. I'll pause here, I'll go over to the mill because I've been doing a lot of milling here, and I'll show you what we have so far made up for the process of making the front sprocket with the offset. We have a couple different things that I was using to make fixtures with. I ended up having to machine, well, basically I had to buy a sprocket to make a sacrificial. This is an 18 tooth 525 pitch. That's the JT Sprockets part number on there. I still wanted to stay with the 18 tooth and then reduce the rear sprocket. So what it basically did is, luckily this is an 18 tooth, so it chucked up really nice in my lathe. If you've never machined these like hardened steel stuff, make sure you're only using carbide. I still went through I think 2.5 tips in order just to bore this out, to get the opening that I wanted. And then I had some scrap quarter inch thick steel. That's what the bolt was for, was to drill the hole, because all I had was some flat stock, so I had to make my own spacer here. So I've machined a light edge on here that it will go, and it press fits into the sprocket. And then I've made, this was the stock sprocket, which only had like 5,000 miles on it, but it was a different pitch for the chain. So what I did is I machined it, or not machined it yet, but I took and machined this inner bore to slide over this lip here, like so. and then this will get, I'm going to get this all trimmed up to match the outer diameter of this spacer, and then these two will get welded together to make one piece. I use my plasma cutter and I put the spacer on it and just went around it with the plasma cutter to cut it off. I'm not that great with the plasma cutter, so for you guys out there that are true welders, let's just get her done. So anyways, that's the inner hub section for it. So I'm going to have to get this trimmed up, and then I will weld this spacer to this. I've made a adapter that's precision for that. All I have to do now is I got to make a washer that will crush down on it. It's actually made where it's recessed inside this lip here, so I'll make this so this bolt will pull it down. So I'll be able to true that up and machine it in the lathe. So, and then I have it threaded for this bolt. So all I need to do is make my spacer now to go on here, and then we'll be ready to go. So anyways, well, I'm going to stop here, and then I'm going to work on making my retaining washer here. And I'm trying to decide with this fixture part here if I want to actually machine a segment in here for the bearing, put a ball bearing on it, and that way I can put it in the vise, and then as I weld I can spin this thing slowly and keeping the torch tip, because I'm most likely going to MIG this. I'm just not that great with TIG. I can TIG okay, but I'm most likely going to MIG this, so I'll be able to set the MIG torch at a set position and work this one-handed and weld just fine, where TIG would take two hands and something to rotate it by itself. So I think I'm going to do this with a MIG. So anyways, when we come back, I'll have this all done and have all the parts all trimmed and ready to weld. All right, everybody, we have the hub portion all done. It's not the prettiest, but I'm not worried about pretty. I did cut a relief on this edge right here, so when it meets up to the gear, that it has a spot for better penetration when I weld. The sprocket that I welded to was like some kind of cast material or something. It was terrible to weld to. It was splatter out on me, so some of the welds don't look that great, but like I said, it's not terrible. It's a small sprocket, so its mass is very low as far as rotational mass, so vibration, I'm not worried about that. It's too small to worry about it. But at this point, I'm going to order my chain before I weld the sprocket on to the actual new hub, offset hub, and then I'll make sure that my chain and everything aligns with the alignment tool with this sprocket in position. I had to make a compression washer to put over here, so when I put it in my fixture again, I can pull pressure on it so I don't get any warping or anything like that. So I'll make this and put it back in the fixture, compress the two pieces together, and then weld around here. And then I may come in with my TIG and actually just no filler rod, just try to bond these two items from the inside. I don't want to encroach too deep inside here because it is so small. And when I welded, or my hole that I made, I didn't want it too far out this way because I didn't want the chain links to be able to touch the welds. So anyways, that is this. We're going to put a hold on it until I get my chain in, and we're going to start focusing on the actual tank, getting the tank in position. So when we come back, we'll be working on the tank. Hey everybody, we are back. We have the tank here, and what I've done is I've come through and paint stripped the area that I need to modify the tank. I don't want to strip the whole tank yet because it's going to sit for a little while, and I don't want to get surface rust on the entire tank. This little area in here is more manageable, so I just stripped it. So basically what I'm doing is I only need a small amount of clearance on the frame, as you've seen in the previous clip. So what I plan to do is not cut it completely out, but I'm just going to cut this line that I've created here enough to make my clearance and still give me a little room, and then fold this out and fold this section over and re-weld it in here without having to completely replace the panel. And then I did the same thing here on this side. It's a much larger section to have to do, but nevertheless, because the tank's not going all the way down, it actually, where the sending unit goes, there's going to be clearance, because it actually, I'll show you on the frame, because the tank has got to come down onto this section here, and this is what's hitting, but the actual sending unit sits over here, so this angle down still allows clearance for the sending unit. So I'm going to get this all cut, and I'll get it re-welded. We'll come back after I got it welded. I'm not a huge professional when it comes to TIG work, but I can make it sealed, and that's what all I'm after. So anyways, that's that, and we'll come back when we have some update. All right, everybody, we're back. The tank has been modified. As I noted before, I'm not a very good TIG welder at this point, but I can seal it and make it work. So I got a couple blips. I've had to wear blue holes in it and I had to patch them up. But it's the underside of the tank. You're not going to see it, and it's going to have paint over it, so it'll fill up at least 50% of the ugliness of it. But with that, the sockets or the cups for the front pins are almost the same width as the CB750. I guess you could say they are the same width. It's just that the actual metal is much smaller, which wasn't a big deal. I went ahead and I raised the pin. This was the original position. Here is the new position. Simply because I wanted the tank at a better setting. So there's that. All right, there it is, setting in position. That's the GS850 tank. I put a hammer underneath to give kind of the elevation that I want, but as you can see, we got plenty of room now not to touch. And from this point, I'll probably be able to tie in for my subframe somewhere up here about where that cross member is at, and come straight back with it. So yay, tank is almost ready. So all I have to do is get the subframe set, get my quick release pin for the tank, and we'll be done there. So anyways, that's it for this video. We'll come back with another episode and have probably the subframe on, or getting close to starting the subframe and all that good stuff. So we'll see you on the next one. See you.